Hi everyone, it's Liz here and thank you for joining me today. I am going to attempt a tutorial on how I make my envelope pockets that I've been obsessed with at the moment. I'm sure there are many videos out there on how to do this, but this is just the way that I've been doing them. And I'm using your standard size envelope for these ones. You can make them any size you want, depending again on how you cut things. But they're very versatile and you can use a variety of envelopes, but for this particular one it is the standard letter size envelopes. I'm not going to give you measurements because really it depends on what size you have. You could have the larger ones or smaller ones. You can also use the return business envelopes that sometimes you get in the mail. You need to have the ones that have the flap that you can kind of, that's open, that you close yourself. You select your pages that you want for your the back of the images that you'll be using or what you'll be gluing to the envelopes, and of course your scissors, your pencil, your glue, and what if you want to use the little punch there for the top of the envelopes to make it a little bit different, you can do that. So as you can see, it has the 3 pockets, and this envelope, again, depending on how you glue it, you can have pockets coming at the top or the sides, and again the different sizes you can make. So this is one that is like a most recent one that I finished, and to show you again with the standard size envelope here, it depends on where you put your flap that you can get the tuck spot at the bottom. So that's the 3rd tuck spot. So as you can see here, so again, it has to be the one with the flaps that are still open, that you haven't closed yet. So for here, you've got the left side of the flap, and it depends on how you flip the envelope, you can get the different side. So again, I don't measure. I like to sort of go with what I've done before or a size that I want. So as you can see, this one somewhat matches the envelope that I've started making on the other side. And again, I'm just showing you here how the flap would be towards the right of the screen here, and how you would flip the envelope. Again, with your flap the opposite direction, it would be now facing the left. So I'm a lefty, everyone, so I hope that all these instructions are making sense on how I move things around, because this is just how I like to work. Minimal measurement is what I love, and also just an idea of how big you want your bottom pockets. Do you want larger top part of it, etc. So you have to select your paper, whatever coverage you need. It also depends here on, do you want to cover the entire surface of the envelope, or do you like to leave a border? I personally like to leave a little border so that if I decide to distress it later on, I can. I like to just kind of mark my sides of where I'm going to be cutting my paper. So again, I'm not measuring here with anything but my eye, saying this is where I would like it to be, and then I will be cutting the pieces to go for the size of the envelope. So you'll need 3 pieces, which is one is for the top, one is for the bottom pocket, and then the little flap. And as you can see here, I've cut that to size to fit the top pocket there. This one fits the bottom pocket, and then an extra piece for the little side pocket to cover up that little edge there. And that's really it. I mean, that's kind of as easy as I can kind of show you. So for example, measuring the bottom flap, it's the same thing. I just line it up to where I would like, kind of cut it around after I've marked it with my pencil, and then just go with that. So hopefully this is making sense to you guys. So I will show you now. I'm just going to glue the pieces that I've cut up. Another thing also, the glue I like to use for this one is this Aleene's glue. If you use the school type glue, because it's wet, it kind of warps the edges, I find, and it doesn't work very well. That's for me. You could also use your double-sided sticky tape for this particular back. Not for the whole thing, but just for this part here, or a glue stick. It's whatever you prefer. But I'm just showing you how I like to, the type of glue that I like to use for my envelopes here. And now, as you can see, I've left a little spot to go down that pocket because I like it to sort of just be a little bit beneath the fold up, just so that you don't have like an edge when you fold up the flap and you glue it together. And now I'm doing the gluing for the bottom portion of the pocket. And again, I'm just going to be tucking it in between the flap and the and kind of lining it up to the edges. Again, this is kind of how I like to do it. You don't have to go all the way to the edge on the inside flap there, but I like to just kind of use that little extra spot to make sure that the pattern follows all the way through. And now you can see it shaping up here how I've done the other one. And now for this little flap, really it's just an extra piece to cover the entire surface. And I just like to glue right on the surface of the flap. I do like to use a different pattern for this little flap because I really like it to, you know, kind of be a little different. So for this particular piece, I've just picked a different print to add to the pocket, and I'm just, again, lining it up to the edges, as you can see, and let it dry a little bit. And then you would just open up your flap after it's dry. But for this purpose, I'm just going to show you how I would cut it now. And I really just trim around the edge. So I just follow the contour of the flap and I cut around those edges. And then when you fold everything back up, you'll see that it kind of lines up and it finishes it off really nicely, so you don't have that, you know, envelope piece, that stark white piece of the envelope sticking up. Now you could make the punches now before you glue the bottom pocket if you wanted it to have the little opening at the bottom. I'm not going to do it for this part, so I'm just going to basically glue the pocket now close, and I just like to do the edges. Again, this is the type of glue I like to use for this. I wouldn't use double-sided tape because then anything you put in the pocket will kind of stick to the edges. So for this particular pocket, I do prefer to use this type of glue so that nothing sticks to, you know, when you're sticking it into the pocket, it doesn't get stuck on the edges, as I said. Okay, so now the top, to make the pocket on the top of it, I just go around and cutting that little bit at the top there, and that now will give you the pocket to the inside of the envelope. So this is where the you know, the third pocket comes in, but also depending on how you glue it to your page, you could get the fourth pocket if you go behind it, if you don't glue the entire thing together. And now these pieces, keep them. I keep them all because I can always add those to something else later. So here they are. As you can see, they're about the same size. For some of them, what I like to do is stitch them on the sides as well, so you can run them through your sewing machine or hand stitch if you want. That actually makes it look really nice as well. So for this one, I did actually stitch it, and you can see the left side of the pocket on that one. So I did the third pocket at the bottom left on the furthest right envelope here. And also you could use the business envelopes that come in the mail. So these ones, it would not have a third pocket that I didn't add to it, but you know, the way it's folded up, I think you've seen these ones already. You just fold up the bottom, you leave the opening so you could kind of see the, you know, the window, and then, you know, there's your pocket there. And for this one, you could also have like another little tuck spot there or pocket because of the way you folded it over. So if you don't have regular envelopes, you can also do something with those. You could also add a third pocket if you wanted, but for this particular one, I just left it like that. So I hope this helped. Hope it gave you some ideas on what I've done. And I'm just going to show you just, you know, filling in the pockets of what we did. So for the top pocket here, which again is the one that you would just, you know, kind of when you're sticking to your page, you could just have this pocket left, or you could add one to the back by the way you glue it. You've got your little tuck spot at the bottom and then your other pocket in the center. So thank you everyone for joining me. Questions, comments, please leave them below. I hope this made sense. And I will see you guys soon. If you have any other comments, please leave them below. Thanks for stopping by.